useful because it has English subtitles that they can listen to, and then also at the same time people are uh, understanding what is the meaning of the Sanskrit words. And all in all, very well professionally produced videos with this meaning. That kind of videos I want to introduce to my uh, audience. Some of the Indians may know it, some of the Americans also may know it, but then my friends like Tracy, I'm sure she will enjoy that kind of video. So that's what I was talking about. That kind of things I will be presenting on the Zoom, and also I can do on the restream too, because I can share the screen and make them see it. Otherwise, they can hear it on Clubhouse and also on the Wisdom, but they won't be able to see the lyrics and the beauty of that. Okay, so Sanya is coming on the Wisdom. She has this problem of not able to be heard on the Clubhouse. That's why she's coming on the Wisdom. Welcome, Sanya. Um, um, I will be seeing you on the Wisdom, so we can talk then. Okay, there she is. She will come.
Dr. Rao, I think you might need to put the Zoom on because you did tell quite a few people about Zoom.
Yeah.
So maybe I think I would switch that on as well because people
Okay.
might be on that.
Let me see how I can do that.
Mm.
1 second. This is going to be an ongoing affair, so I have to work the kinks a little bit. I should have started Zoom to begin with, but I went to Restream because so many other channels are open. Still, people are getting to know this room, but the ones who are interested, who come here, at least the last 45 minutes we will dedicate completely to that discussion. Okay, so that way it is easier for them. So I was telling you about that kind of song. There were several classic poems, classic stanzas from different things that are rendered into beautiful editions of this song kind of compositions that are really helping people to um, understand what is this ancient wisdom. How can we really be close to that? And then my thing is, how can I bring those wisdom things into our modern life, especially when you look at the stresses and strains that we're going through? That's where that helped me to survive as an informatician, as a physician, and also help my colleagues with the stress that they were going through, right? So that's what I wanted to focus on. It's not about worshiping or adopting them blindly, rather bringing those hacks, these tidbits, lessons into our regular modern life so that we feel better, we have the energy, we don't have negative thinking, we don't have ill effects of the overload or overwhelm or the stress and burnout, and we sleep better and we function better. You see, instead of just talking and all that, if people can be silent within themselves, that's what the ancient wisdom taught me, is to be silent most of the time and then use the thought as a conscious thought process, not like a unconsciously everything coming into my mind. That's what I was hoping that I could do. So in the from that song I was talking about, it's kind of uh, important to understand the meaning of each word, and then we will be able to see that. Okay, so okay, that's not coming through. So I'm going to get that song and play it for you. Just enjoy it at least for now. Okay, I just played it this morning, so I'm getting it, and you'll enjoy that. 1 second. So, do you know what is the meaning of uh, Jagadaiva Kutumbakam, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam? One is saying that this entire world is one. The other one is saying this whole earth is one. And they go on exploring on that. So that will be good.
Dr. Rao, I
Yeah,
used to do the Gayatri mantra
yeah, yeah.
108 times every morning.
Wonderful. That is
Um,
scaled to a special tune. So when people listen to that, just the mathematics of it is very good. The way it's composed on the scale. It goes like this: Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. That is about really worshipping the sun in the sense like you enlighten our ignorance and really help us to kind of flower our intelligence so that we can learn a lot of things from the life and apply that. So much more deeper meaning is there, as this sloka has so many words, but then each word is very significant. So we can go on talk about that for about half a day, the meaning itself. But then when you do it, it is composed to the scale, which is very valuable for us. Okay, so we will take a deeper discussion on that. Tracy, you want to say what you felt about it?
at the beginning, I was focused on getting to understand the meaning of it,
Hmm.
and it just seemed like it was more so not so much a mental thing,
Yeah,
but a spiritual because
yeah.
I gave up seeking the meaning and
Hmm.
then I became the meaning. I don't
Okay.
know if
Yeah, yeah,
I felt it through me, in
yeah.
other words.
Actually, that is true. What is it is asking us to our charting mind, let it take it and establish in our heart. So we can see things through the heart rather than our analytical assessment. Dhiyo, that is the meaning of that. Dhi Mahi means, Mahi means mind, Dhi means spiritual heart. Let my mind be so enlightened that I will see things through my heart, my spiritual heart, not my assessment of, with the cognition, we kind of separate ourselves from other people, race, country, so many things we kind of bring it through our analytical self. And that's what they're saying. We are all one family, we are all one human tribe, or the whole living beings are one family. Let's go and then really understand that and be in that, so that we are accepting everybody and we are in that oneness, which is actual fact, but we don't feel like that. We feel like I am separate, I have a different name, I have different things that I want to do, and I have a personality, my knowledge is different, all those separative things that we do. Yeah, it is praying like, let me see the fact that it is, which is, I am really hoping to be in that oneness, and you help me to do that. That kind of prayer that is. Uh, those two words are very, very important, Tracy. I'm glad you're trying to be that meaning, and what you said was also true. When we understand, when we really realize, is she really our energy we're talking about, our oneness we are talking about, that's not separate from me. All our problems are because we think we are separate. But when we are oneness, even the moral, ethical, compassionate, all those things come through that. But once you, it's not about having a concept and saying, okay, this is the concept. You actually, in your energy, in your inner self, do you feel that oneness? Is that real to you? Is that real in your life? That is what they are hoping for. And focusing on that mantra, people do yoga also, people do just meditative awareness and all that with that mantra, that knowing the meaning and then understanding and doing it much more valuable than really saying some belief or some Hinduism, all that. They may enhance your devotion and all that according to your belief, but somebody like me who brought up in modern society, I don't have that kind of blind faith or something like that. I mean, believe in a one energy, like a the God energy, we are all that kind of thing. But then, if you want me to really believe it just because somebody said, I won't. But I want how did this come about? Who has made this come about? What is happening within me when I'm doing it? What does it mean anyway? So then it revealed a lot because each word has a lot of meaning in it. The story of this is there was this king, his name is Vishwamitra. He's an emperor, right? So he is kind of has the might of the intellect, might of the muscle power, and might of the political power and all that. So he was ruling this big kingdom, and the outskirts of kingdom there is this ashram, that is the monks place, they call them ashram, right? So they live in the forest, they live with the bare minimum means and all that. This particular sage, he's a um, very mighty in his spiritual uh, nature and all that, right? So everybody kind of pays respects to him. So he went to some battle at one time, and he comes back. On the way back, he finds this Vashishta is the sage's name, and he looks at his ashram and say, "Okay, let's go and give take his blessings and go." So he comes to him with 10,000 army, and then Vashishta receives him, and then really after all the greetings and all that, he offers him them to stay for the lunch and go. Then the emperor says, "Oh, we are 10,000 people. How could you do 10,000 people?" He says, "No, no, we will arrange it. Don't worry about it." Then he has this. Cow, and this a sacred cow. It's a story. I don't know the historical, but the story. So the cow gives whatever he wants, whatever foods, whatever all that. That's the thing happens. Then they feed the entire 10,000 people, and the emperor is surprised, and he says, "How could you do that?" And this is the cow. This is divine for us. It gives everything that we want, but it does only with meditative devotional power, not by almighty thing. Emperor says, "Whatever is in my kingdom is mine. So let me have this cow because it will be more useful to people if it's with me." And Vashishta tells him, "Sir, it doesn't work like that. You cannot show your power on it and then expect it to work. You have to be really meditative, devotional. Then only because of you have elevated your spirituality, it may give you the wishes." And Emperor doesn't listen. He wants to says that I'm going to take this cow, and he wants to enforce some violence. So Vashishta, with his devotional power, the better power, the story goes that he raises his stick, and then the entire army gets dusted. Okay, and then Emperor realizes, oh, this particular thing he is doing, spirituality, is much more powerful than my mighty army and all that. So he wants to get the same power. So he goes and gives the kingdom to his ministers, and goes into the forest, starts to do the what they call penance. They call it tapas, and he sacrifices everything. He does all this inner development and meditating for years and years. Then he finally he gets some powers, but then he succumbs to his human desires. Actually, one girl comes, Menaka, and he falls for her, and then he loses all the speech. Then he comes back and does it for a few more years. Eventually this is happening, but he has this kind of jealousy, hatred towards the Vasishta because he has such a power. And then he kind of finally gets to the power where he could realize what is self and all that, right? Then he comes to Vashishta to show off that I have achieved this. But then as he is entering, he overhears Vashishta talking to his wife, saying that I'm praying for Vishwamitra, I hope he will succeed. So this is a special quality spiritual people have. It's called mudita. That means somebody's spiritual achievement or somebody's success you are happy about. It's not only about your success, right? So he kind of prays for that, and then it happens. It so happens that Vishwamitra really feels ashamed of himself, because look at this man. I have so much enmity, so much jealousy about his powers and all that, but he is kind of praying for me. And then at that moment, something sparks and he gets this Gayatri mantra out. And this is supposed to be a pretty famous mantra, pretty useful mantra. And the people who really understand, who really does it in that spirit, they will see the benefits by themselves. We don't have to describe, and people will get them by themselves. Okay, that's the story of that Gayatri mantra, Tracy. Anything interesting in there?
I was not aware of the story, but now that I know it, it makes it even more meaningful.
Yeah. You see, it's like a raising from the being a selfish, egotistical, or jealous, or breeding enmity, hatred human being, which is our limited selves, right? To somebody who is content within yourself, and then who is always looking for the good of other people, and always trying to give, that kind of people, like a Vasishta, you can go there. See, the twist in the story is, they tell them, you if you really want to complete realization, you got to go and get blessings from Vashishta. That's why Vishwamitra comes back to him to take his blessings, so that his mission is complete. And that time, even that time also, he is kind of envious of the Vashishta and all that, right? But all that goes away from him. He really becomes from human to really evolved human being. And that is what this mantra is also help people by taking our smaller self to our bigger self. So people practice this for a serious reason, and but for some people do mechanically. But even if it's done mechanically, you play it on the radio and then just you listen to it with attention, it has immense benefits within yourself, within your energy. You can feel that, provided you are attentive and you are really paying it. That's something but we don't have is attention span. We want to shift from one to the other, right, very quickly. And this will help people to have better attention span, So when I'm doing yoga, for example, the class which I take, I repeat some of that a little bit, and then people like it. Maybe I do 3 times, but each word you want to spell correctly, pronounce correctly. So that's something, the scale that they compose it on. Musicians tell me there's a lot in that. I'm not a musician, but I heard from them the scale that is very, very healing. So Indian music has this very healing sounds. So playing that instrumental music is very, very good for us to just to settle down. The same with Bach or Beethoven or anybody we listen to, that's coming from deep from their soul. And that's why we tune into that, and then we have a different energy than our modern commercial or whatever we want, a transactional thing, right? I should get this if I do that. Versus transformational, from the lower self to the higher self. Make sense? I think that Tracy did a very good thing by reminding the Gayatri Mata. These are the things I want to tell people, because I'm not like a Hindu. I kind of take any poem from anything and I can understand the spiritual significance. I look for it actually. There are usually interpretations, but then there are ways to get to the originality of anything, right? So if you believe something like, then you are restricting yourself to that, and then you are not open to everything else. But if you say everything is the same, only oneness, that's completely different. I see Sanya there, and if she wants to come up. I will ask her to. Oh, Dr. Roshna. Welcome, Dr. Roshna. If you would like to come and chat with us, you are more than welcome. Alma. So, hi, Sanya.
Hi, Dr. Raf.
Yeah,
What's today?
yeah,
I
yeah,
guess I
good.
would have to guess in one day. It's fine.
Very good. Excellent. What do you feel about what we talked about? The Gayatri Mantra. We did it together a couple of times, right? So,
Yeah, Dr. Raf, I'm at this place where I'm just like, yeah, I'm just enjoying every moment, and I'm not worried about anything else in terms of what other people say or do.
yeah,
And I just do what I feel like, what needs done.
yeah,
And um, yeah, I mean, you can comment on a lot of things on opinions and stuff like that, right?
yeah,
I, yeah, I'm grateful for, of course, you
yeah,
setting all of these up, and of course, we've been working together the past year, right? And so just a continuous,
yeah,
learning and continuous um, exploration
yeah,
of these things, rather than,
yeah,
I guess I'm at the point where, you
yeah.
know,
This is not an instruction. It's more like a inviting people to really open up and explore themselves. That may be different perceptual ability and different kind of conditionings out there. So yeah, everybody has to go through their own journey, and then they have to. It's not about following somebody's instruction. It's about understanding and taking this. So the ancient practice of ancient wisdom says first listen, then think on that, doubt it, question it, and after that is all done. Once you see, okay, this is the truth of the matter, if I can make myself understand and let me bring it to the life. So these steps in Sanskrit called Shravanam, listening, Mananam is the reflection and questioning and doubting, and Nididhyasana, making it real in my life. Not about just the words, not about our understanding, but suppose I said something about mudita. That means being happy for somebody else's success. So you're not selfish, but you are happy that somebody achieved whatever they want to achieve, or somebody is striving and then they got a success. So even though you are not successful in that, but you have cultivated this mudita, which is happiness for the others, success, others' life. Hi, Alma, how are you?
Hi, Dr. Rao. Hi, everyone. I am almost at work,
Yeah,
listening and learning, and I am fascinated.
welcome.
Thank you for the space and be around here, please.
Sure. We are kind of beginning phase of this, so I actually wanted to do everything on the Zoom, but I didn't think many people are signed up yet. So I just want to continue to introduce for a few weeks, and then we can always start the Zoom in the middle. Meanwhile, I did start on the Restream, which will go to my Facebook groups also. One of the new ones I did. This Conquer Burnout. That is the website. I'm going to do a lot of my activity and then direct them to so many things that I'm doing that they will be happy to, uh, check it out at least, So I usually record everything so that people can go to the replays if that's not good. Okay. Dr. Roshnak said she is not able to talk there. That's okay, Dr. Roshnak. I'm happy to see you here. So this is a ongoing, not commercial, not something that we are selling. It's just friends gathering together, exploring some of the modern and also ancient wisdom principles, and then bringing them to our life. So I wanted to tell them how I kind of understood what is conscious thought, where the thought can go out of whack, where it becomes a chatter mind, and where it becomes not peaceful because it is continuously shattering. That is usually the complaint I get from many doctors, nurses, and also lawyers and also accountants. Anybody in my team that are working for my team, like my banker, my accountant, my lawyer, all those people, right? Everybody tells me their mind runs very fast and they cannot have this quietness I talk about. They ask me, how is that possible even? So that is where the ancient people really explored inner exploration, and then they brought in awareness, awareness to the front, and then all the thought, conceptions, everything to the back. So they have control over that. Once they are understood, we are basically, without awareness, we don't even have thoughts, no emotion. So basically, you have to be aware if the awareness is not there. So what they identified was, like we see something like a Tracy or some cow or something I say, okay, this is Tracy, this is this one, like that we say, right? So we experience these things outwardly, but we never pay attention to the experiencer within us. What is it? That is what they identified as awareness, that is beyond the thought, the superficial layer of the cognitive thought. Nothing wrong with that cognitive thought, but only how we make it unconsciously function in us, that is the problem that has become more like a burnout, more like a lack of attention, and not having peace of mind and all that. Okay? So once you travel towards that center within you where you are aware, awareness itself, then you establish yourself, then you use your inner instrument of mind better and outer instrument of body better. That is where I always talk about, if you are realized yourself, your real nature, then you are much better healthy because you don't have this movement of thought going all over. So I operate from the silence most of the time. In silence, I kind of use thought and calm, and that means after an activity is done, like this room is ended, I can immediately be in the silence because that is our natural self. So realizing that not as a concept, not as somebody's instruction, but as a fact, as a reality within ourselves takes a lot. That is where all the Indian or even other Muslim or Christian, any of the religious practices, if you take it, they ultimately go towards that. You know, they may call it Allah, they may call it God, they may call it so many things, but then eventually they go to that. So, should I believe in a religion to do that? No, not at all. Do you have to belong to somebody? No. So, it's a kind of liberation from all those limitations that we impose on ourselves. You see, that's why this is a valuable thing. You know, but most of the time, people look to the gurus, to the teachers or sages to save them, and they may exploit you because of that. But you don't need to depend on anybody, but you have to embark on this inner journey by yourself. Somebody may throw a light on that path, but you got to walk the path. You got to travel the path. That is the difficult thing. Outward things like a scientific thing, yeah. If I say something like a, you do this perplexity program this way, I can give you the guidance and you can follow that. But in this inner human exploration, I think there is no guru or anybody. We have to explore by ourselves. You know, other people may have said so many things. We can take some of them, but we still have to experience themselves. That's the difficulty. Being me a scientist, I want to deal with the objective data, evidence, and then prove and all that. That's fine. But when it comes to inner exploration, scientific exploration, I have to experience it. That's the difference. I hope people will experience what I'm talking about, like a mudita. Test it out by yourself. Can I be happy for somebody else's success? Am I being happy for somebody's success? Am I really happy, or do I resent him, or do I say, oh, he's not that talented, he got it, something like that? You know, at that moment, if you catch yourself really as you are, not you as you think you should be or as you set up your to be, but as you are. If you feel jealous, if you're, that's the fact. Don't have to punish yourself, but just by being aware of that, that will go down. I taught Sonia about this fear, for example, or anything that she has. I said, be aware of it and see what happens. I can tell her that, but I cannot be that for her. She has to do that awareness of the fear by herself. When she did that, she noticed the fear is going down because you are not giving continuity to the fear. Same thing about pratyahara. That means it's a practice in yoga. It's one of the eight steps of Patanjali. It prepare. See what happens is five steps are there to prepare your mind. Okay, of the five, the last one is the pratyahara. That means you allow the eyes to somebody, any sense, look at something or hear something, anything, and from there there is a stimuli coming towards you, right? That perception of stimuli but without reacting is called pratyahara. Ahara means food. Pratyahara means kind of you are not allowing the food for thought, food for all those things come in and take over you. You kind of watch it, you kind of let it come, but you don't perceive it, you don't accept it. That is the practice called pratyahara. This is kind of, I kind of use it in forest bathing. My physician friends or my IT friends or leaders, these are the people I train them, right? So when they come, I tell them just take a walk in the forest, but then don't get involved in your own thought. That's not the purpose. The purpose is go and expose yourself to the elements of the nature, the leaves, the wind, the green sites. We have beautiful gardens here because I live in on the banks of the Mississippi. So this time of the year is beautiful here, all green, everything. So when you go there, don't talk anything inside you. Just expose yourself. And also, when the stimuli come to you, don't engage assessing them. Don't engage in analyzing them. Just one day it could be very, very green. The next day it would be raining. Next day it would be all cloudy. Nothing, no sunshine is coming. Those kind of. You have to perceive that and then enjoy that, not to engage the mind. So that kind of rested mind in nature with pratyahara is a good practice to go into the deeper workings on the mind. See, the Patanjali Yoga, I don't know people who don't know about it, I'm telling you, there are eight steps. The eight steps, five I said external and three internal, right? This first one starts with how are we dealing in the society? Are we having some rules and regulations? Are we being moral, ethical, that kind of thing? Five for the society and five for yourself. They are called yama, niyama. Yama has five components and niyama has five. But both are basically about ethical, moral behavior and all those things that we do. Then you go to the body and asana. So you make the body healthy enough that you're able to sit down to do the meditation, right? And fourth thing is how do you manage your energy with the breathing? That's called pranayama. And then after the pranayama, this pratyahara. So yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. After all these things, then you're telling the mind, I'm going to work with you. This is the purpose of the yoga, to sit down and work on my own inner work, inner whatever going on, right? So first one is dharana. That means I'm trying to concentrate all the scattered thoughts so that I can really focus on that. And then you stay with one thought, that is called dhyana. And then going beyond one thought into complete absorption called samadhi. So yama niyama about our ethical and moral standards, then body asana, breathing pranayama, senses control with pratyahara, and then controlling the different thoughts, that is the thought dharana, and then dhyana is one thought and staying with one thought, and going beyond the thought is the final step samadhi. This is where you are really stopping the operations of the thought and vrittis, they call it. And then because you have stopped that superficial layer of the mind, you can see deeply within yourself who you are, what is your real nature. Once you establish in the real nature, then your peace, your happiness, and your joy and all that. Because mind is quiet and also clean like the lake. The superficial layer is transparent because it's not dirty, and also it has no movement. Then you can see the bottom of the lake through your naked eye. So that kind of simile they use to describe that. It is very possible for us in the modern age to be in the middle of all this information, and also understand the effects of the excess information on you, and really not to be uh, affected by it in a negative way. I kind of enjoy that silence, and I kind of enjoy the blissful nature of the real self, and it's like a blessing. I don't have to believe anybody, I don't have to follow anybody, but the only thing I have to know my real true self. That's what it is. I think I spoke so many things in a very small way. I hope it is understandable. What do you feel? Any questions or anything on that? If I'm not clear about anything, then I can go back and talk about it. That's what I'm asking. Or let us take it like this. How often do you get silent and be in the silent without any effort? That means your thought has taken its place, because it knows its place and it will take its place, and you're not raking it up, but you are kind of quiet and calm. Have you experienced it during the period of prayer, during the period of a complete immersion in activity like a sport? You are playing basketball and you can shoot the baskets in the flow. Or you are working in the hospital or somewhere where you are completely engaged with what you are doing in that service, and your mind is completely quiet. Or do you engage yourself to be quiet like that? So I recommend people to be quiet like that, at least sometime in the morning, sometime in the evening. My wellness club, I kind of bring it in. So you can ask Sonia too. Sonia, also, I don't engage in any conversation, entertainment in the beginning, because I want us to establish ourselves in that, presence of ours. Present, we be here and now. Don't even think about it. Just coordinate ourselves with our breathing and with our thought silent. Then we are really having this energy from conserving from all the thinking, and also the parasympathetic nervous system that is relaxed, really makes you not react to that much. So that's what I train the physicians, so that they can not be so reactive, but more like a responsive to their duties. Sanya, tell us about your experience in my wellness club. How that calmed your mind?
Like it took a while, Dr. Bao, because it is about a lot about the breathing and more than anything, it's the commitment to change, right? I think for me it was like that, right? Because I want to be more than I am, and so to be better, to be not better in terms of like you know so now we're talking about service to other people, right, Dr. Rao?
Yeah.
And this is, I'm so grateful for the changes within me.
Yeah.
And when I can, when I'm having any issues or any, what the term friction within me, then I pause and reflect, like what you said in the fear part, right?
Yeah.
And then, this is where we consciously choose, right, on what we want to do next, right?
Yeah, I was referring to recalling our experience of being exercise in awareness, exercise in the presence. That is what we did in the practice. Because I may be talking about, okay, let's do this and all that, but basically I'm in the present. I'm aware what is happening with my body. I'm aware of the tensions and that kind of thing. So we did not talk at all for the first 45 minutes. Then I used to ask Sanya, ask me questions, ask me questions. She used to be, okay, I don't have any questions. But later on, she got into it because she was thinking for herself, what is that I want to know? What is that? That's what I wanted her to do, ask questions on her own, so that she can expand her mind to whatever. It's not like I'm telling you, oh, you ask me this question, land. It's like coming from you, that becomes your active listening, active learning, right? So for something that you want to know, you put a question and you explore into that, you will be more perceptive and receptive for the whatever that's coming, and the insights that happen, that is the one which is transformative. So those insights should happen within us, not because somebody said, "Oh, I'm the authority, I'm going to tell you." That's all okay outwardly, even the medical sciences and all that, that's all okay. But what I'm talking about is inner transformation, which we are talking about here. That is not possible if you follow somebody, or if you don't allow yourself to really flower in that, so that's why I just want to recall that when we did all the exercises, breathing, all without really doing this entertainment stuff, or without engaging in small talk or making it easy, it's not that. It's really focusing and being in the present. And I'd say two things: awareness and alignment. Awareness of the time that we are in. We are aware that we are here in this place. That's second one. And third one is putting away all these, mundane things that we normally do for our life. They can wait for the time. This is kind of a meditative awareness practice for 45 minutes. Then what happens is you end up in that presence. You end up in the basically working in the present. You are not allowing the past memories come and cloud your what is in front of you, or your projection of thought in the form of imagination going forward in the, but you are stationed in the present. Actually, that is when you are really alive. But if you bring in all the experience and all that, you are in your head, not in the life. So that is the practice I was, I'm sure Sanya is recalling that. She's telling her experience, that's fine too. But what I was focusing on is how that awareness practice is operated on the first 45 minutes, then automatically you become less reactive and you become more energized. So another thing I use is AEIOU. A stands for be aware after the practice or in the practice, and be aware. After my practice is done, I want these five things to be tested. Am I aware? Am I more aware, or am I less aware? And E is, am I more energized after the practice or not? Okay. Usually after the yoga practice, you get more energized because you have been deep breathing all the time, right? And I is that insight. Very, very important. Say factual knowledge, scientific knowledge, and all that. We give you actually tested theories, tested. We may revise them as the truth is revealed. But initially, we do the conducting so much testing, right, with samples of hundreds of thousands of people and all that. Then we accept, okay, can be safe. This will, be, but then as the facts evolve, we will revise that changes. So always approximating to the truth, right? That's okay. But in this insight is something here and now. You should be having it by yourself, and that insight kind of tears away all the clouds of ignorance and all that from you. So it's like a something clicked, and then you say, oh, aha moment. That is the insight I'm talking about. So you should be more insightful of something during that hour. It could be something we practiced about breathing and you felt very, very clear, or it could be something like a tension that you had for years that eased up because you are assuming the posture in such a way. Anything, it could be physical, emotional energy and all. Some insight happens that kind of clears away the cobwebs. Okay. And then O is, this is the primordial sound, you are connected with that. And then U is, you as a conscious being are daily realize I'm part of this universal consciousness. That is yoga. Yoga is a fusion, union. Yog means union. Union of that what we think as individual consciousness, realizing I'm not individual, I'm part of the universal consciousness. I am universal consciousness. Once you have that, then you have a successful yoga practice for the day at least. So they just came to me. I didn't read anywhere. All these letters, A, E, I, O, U, the vowels that we have in English, right? They came like that, and then I was able to piece them together. And then I was. That's okay, standard for me. After the practice, do you have all these things checked out? That kind of maybe silly, but still works. Yeah. Right, Sanya? What you remember? We used that several times.
Yeah, I love that, Dr. Rao, but
Yeah.
I don't, in terms of acumen.
Yeah.
I'm, the question I had next was like, initially I was like looking for, what is enlightenment, right?
Yeah.
And of course now I'm just like I actually came to a place that I really, really enjoy like the things I do now, right, Dr. Brown?
Yeah.
So it doesn't even come into play anything
Yeah.
questions like that, just because
See,
now that
enlightenment.
we did all that,
Yeah.
not only the practice, right,
Yeah.
the practical aspects of it, right?
Yeah.
Now you just sit back and just like explore more and go into yourself a little more, like what you said in terms of the practice of awareness when we were doing that, right?
Yeah.
And at the end, when we come to a place where let's bring the selves all together, right?
Yeah.
All the stuff into the one,
Yeah.
And I really like now appreciate that so much more, the time for myself.
Yeah.
And to be just sitting there,
Yeah.
and really enjoy it, especially when I'm going out in the garden and I'm just sitting there,
Yeah.
nothing, no complications, no nothing, no, just like, you don't need all of that, but now you can just bring that whenever you want, right?
Yeah.
Just even if it's a few seconds or anything like that, that breathing allows you to be there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm just appreciating all the stuff that we taught.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of that is my experience. That is what I was exploring, right?
About this enlightenment thing, Sanya. One thing really caught me by a jolt was this statement that everybody is already enlightened, but they are not aware of it. Right? So it is kind of we think is a thing to achieve, but it is not. It's kind of all the layers that is covering that inner self. We just need to understand and peel them away. You know. So in Sanskrit, they describe the big sciences are there behind each word, but mala vikshepa avarana. Mala means dirt. Okay. Suppose you are having a mind that's full of all sorts of wishes, desires, and wants and whatever, that they consider as mala, as a dirt. So for that, when you work, you use the work as a means to express yourself and service unselfishly, so that this all the desires and all those things will not accumulate. In that way, if you examine the ancient cultures and the modern cultures, two things really came to the modern thing is ego development, that we think we are something separate and we are great and all that egoic sense, and then profits. We have to have some profits to work. Those three are not there, then the first component of mala is done. So karma yoga is about unselfish work. Okay. So I mean, anybody can do that or not, it's up to them. I'm just describing to you how they was taught there. And vikshepa means scattered mind going all over. Okay. So then you cannot focus on yourself, what you are. If your Sonia doesn't have the stability of the thought, she would not have been able to sit down and enjoy the garden and enjoy the peace within herself. So that vikshepa, or that whole field of meditation, thought control, all those things are there. Okay, whole lot of things. It's one of the very difficult things. It's not that easy. First one also is not that easy. Then avarana. Avarana means it's a veil that's covering your real self. That veil is your ignorance that you're already an enlightened person. Eckhart Tolle, in his Earth book, kind of gave a definition that modern people understand better. He said, um, bringing back the awareness of being and embodying it by feeling realization is enlightenment. I think in the Now book, I think he wrote that. So remembering or bringing back into awareness that we are not just this body mind complex, but we are this spiritual being that is animating the body and mind. But we think we are the first body and the mind, and then in our mind we have this conscious. That's a totally wrong view of the. But the modern science also is coming close to that now. If you look at Sam Harris and other people, if you read them, they were coming very close to that. Our unified field of theory and whatever. So for me, when I read the scientific literature that's evolving now and really understand what the ancient said, it's kind of a validation, it's kind of complementary. So we don't have to dismiss either of them, but then we can understand them better if you really look at them in that angle. So these three things, if you can remember them, be unselfish in whatever you do. So offer it anything as a service, and be calm and quiet in your mind, and then that's a difficult thing. There's so much you can do on that. And the third thing is realize that you are already a realized being, but your ignorance of it is the problem that you have to overcome. Make sense? See, self enlightenment is not a thing to achieve or something that somebody can give it to us. The whole yoga stands on this, where second stanza, I think, on the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, is about chitta vritti nirodha. Vrittis are these thoughts. Chitta means the mind. Nirodha means stopping them. Not like a spider, we emit a thought and we build up a nest and we get caught in that. So instead of that, use thought consciously so that you have better focus, better thing, and all that. You can have a brainstorming session, but then you have to know how to stop the thought, and that's what the yoga practices do. And that's something they all talk about. And then it's like there are terms of bodha and nirodha. Bodha means understanding. Understanding that suppose you are seeing a movie, unless the screen was there, maybe you all can act as a screen too, but unless the screen is there, you cannot play the movie. But when you are playing the movie, you get caught up in the drama and then get attached to it. But if you can really see there is a screen underneath and that is unchanging, our consciousness is like that screen, unchanging. All our life, all our mind drama is playing on it. Once you see that, that is even you are not doing anything, you don't stop the thought, but you are aware that the screen is there. Whereas in yoga nirodha, you kind of turn off the projector, and then the whole movie is gone. So I go for the bodha, where you are aware of everything, and you are aware that this is playing the game there. Okay. I think our session went very well, at least for me. I was able to bring it. Thanks to Tracy, she brought in the Gayatri Mantra. And thanks to Sanya, I was able to talk about my daily practice. Any questions or any comments that you want to say?
Dr. Rao, would you be able to describe selfless?
Yeah. Yeah, selfless work is, suppose you discover this abundance within you, which Sanya is also discovering now. That's why she was able to go back and stay there and really experience as the bliss. That means she has the riches inside. That abundance is within all of us, right? Once you are in touch with that, you are with this ebbing joy, quietness, peace, and all that. Then you don't have to have anything from outside. That's why the ancient said, you got to turn inward and realize who you are. That is the purpose of the human life. Whereas if you think everything is outward and I'm going to be happy for a while, if I get things and all that, that's why we kind of work for them. But once you realize I'm contented, I'm already filled with a lot, my cup is filled with the brim, then you don't have to work for anything that is selfish. That's when whatever you do, you may do things, but still you kind of do it like a service to people or the divinity in those people. So for me, that is the Sivagnana Jiva Seva I talk about. I kind of want to relate to the divinity within each person, and whatever I do is like a worship to the divinity. Then that becomes a selfless work because I'm not hoping for anything, right? And I'm not expecting anything when I'm doing it. That is where I can remain not touched by the life, like I'm a boat in the river, but I sail through it, but I'm not affected by the river water. Kind of not coming into the boat, but it's outside, and then I can sail through it. So selfless work brings you that, cleaning up all those desires and all those things. So what is it is the way we evolve, we kind of going more and more to outward things. Even India has sent somebody to moon, right? But how many Indians know about this inner abundance? Even though the teachings are there, I'm not saying all the Indians are. They are much worse than Westerns in the commercial. Sometimes, they get hurt, but that is the truth. They want so much of gold, so much of thing, all those things, but they don't understand this inner abundance that is there in the teachings, right? So, like that, if you are full with your cup, then you will do anything for anybody without asking anything. Is that clear, Tracy?
It is clear, but I find since I've been on this journey and meditating more and
Yeah.
looking forward more, the more I become compassionate and open to others.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that is a good tool to have in
Yeah.
this society, in the world today.
No, no,
The part
no,
of you that has to be tough, and I feel
no. It is going above the society. See,
animals to the plants to the trees. I mean,
yeah,
come on,
yeah.
I'm trying to break myself out of this.
I don't know. The thing is, it is the outward thing that's where you have to develop some detachment. Asangatvam. That means you have the detachment for these external things. Even to the people who are selfish, you are detached because they don't know what they are doing. So you don't be influenced by what others are doing, only influenced by what you are feeling inside, what you are doing. Then they can be whatever they are, but you don't have to change.
But what about balance? What about balance? Because
There's nothing like a balance. If you think balance, you are in deep trouble because you cannot be selfish one time and unselfish another time. You got to enjoy this unselfishness and giving, and that really frees you from the dirt of all this selfishness. This balance thing I hear a lot, but then that's why people struggle. Go fully towards the you being unselfish and then see the results. You will then it doesn't matter somebody is selfish or somebody is unselfish, but you yourself unselfish.
I see a car in the middle of the road, and
Yeah.
it's like kind of not the middle of the road, but kind of pulled over on the curb somewhat.
Yeah.
And everyone is driving past, and I said, you know what? Let me go check on this man on the inside. And sure enough, it was an elderly man, and he was having going into
Yeah.
a diabetic shock coma. I gave him Cali, but at the same time, I look at all the cars driving past, and I say, how come I'm the one who feels it in my heart the need to pull over?
That's what
It's
that
just
I'm
a
saying. Don't
way.
worry about the others, Tracy. Don't worry. You are doing the thing that you felt right for you. That's good enough. Enjoy that. I'd give it, and that's good. Don't question other people's intentions. That's where we get into trouble. You are doing the what we felt compassionate. That's fine. Why you have to about others? Because they will not change just because you tell them. They want to feel the change. They want to feel like I have to change. Then only they will change. Other most important thing is there is what is called Vishaloka. That means this time and space and what we are seeing in the world, that is there. And if you engage yourself, like for example, you engage with the politics and all these things, you are going to go away from this inner blissful, peaceful thing. And all. So that's why what you want to do is you protect your own interior by not even questioning other people, but questioning yourself. Am I like this? Am I doing? And then you will be able to be compassionate even the people who are not attentive to this man. But you are not an administrator for the other people's psychiatric thing, So it's up to them, Actually, this is warned also. I remember very well. Uh, Ramana Maharshi is a great sage, right? He has these very close people came and lived with him. They left everything and lived with him. He never asked anybody to come and live with him. They came and lived because they wanted to be close to him and listen to his teaching. That's one thing with Ramana Maharshi is he doesn't want anything from anybody in his life. He never asked for anything, right? So he has this Sadhu Om. That was his name of this gentleman who was with in this quest of self-realization, and he was pretty getting very well advanced. And then these visitors are coming to the ashram because they wanted to pay, homage to Ramana Maharshi, and they are all coming. But then they all bring their these worldly things with them. They want to know that the wishes are fulfilled. They want to know that daughters are married. They want to know the sons are getting jobs, or like that kind of thing. When they come, he is to go and just be a good human being. He just wanted to help them out with the ashram plans and all. There are other people there, but he also is. So Ravana Maharshi called him and told him, no, don't engage in the discussion of these mundane matters with people, because the way you are doing, by you becoming self-realized, you will help a lot more people. On the other hand, you are standing in your own way by engaging with these minds that are worldly. So your mind is also worldly. That's why it is questioning why other people are not there. If it is not, it won't question. It will just go its own way, and then whatever you can do, you can do. That's why I don't really strive to get so many people, so many likes and all that. Whoever interested, they will come. Otherwise, it's okay. Even one person is there, I'm happy to talk to them. That happens with my rooms. That's fine. It's not a popularity contest. It's all those things are worldly. If you are really spiritual, those things should not bother you at all. That's all you learn from that, and then you march towards your own goals. Okay, I think we are beyond that 8 o'clock now, and if anybody else has a question, I'll stop to answer that. Otherwise, we'll close the room for today. Okay.
Thank you.
Next time, I will see how many people sign up for the Zoom. I will also advertise that. And then if they sign up, then we will do only on Zoom, no Clubhouse, no Wisdom, no other channels. Maybe that one, my Conquer Bernard Facebook group, I may do in that. Okay. All right.
So now you're live on Facebook as well currently.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'll see you then. Of course, I'll see tonight, at my Docks and Burnout at 7 p.m. my time. That is Central Time. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Rao.
Yeah.